What's good, everybody? Hope you all are doing well and staying safe. I want to go over if endurance is worth the loot from a per hour perspective, and if this loot hurts the economy more than just a regular full-time streamer playing the game. As with me being a full-time content creator, I feel that it is only fair to compare it within that ratio, given that I am going to use my 95.5 hour Steel Path run as a comparison. And regardless of how a player plays, typically somebody that does content creation full-time is going to have more hours to get more done within the same overall time period of given day to day than somebody that does not play as a full-time content creator. And as well, with my 95.5 hour run, it was a Steel Path Fissure, so I feel like without having to use loot frames, this is as maximized as loot is going to more or less get. As I did have a booster, and I also had the endless boosters and the Steel Path boosters, plus the mob density from Steel Path itself. For credits in total with the 372 Haro chassis, I got 132,784,600 for an average of 1,390,414 per hour. And like I said, this is with both the credit booster and a endless booster, which is essentially a whole nother booster stacked on top of it. Not essentially, it literally is. So 1.3, say 1.4 million per hour is nothing compared to just going in and out of Index or Profit Taker and the 5 to 10 million per hour that you can get there. And even if you're more advanced, you can even get higher than those numbers. For Endo, I got 40,693 mods and 176,240 Endo. That's raw Endo itself. For the rare mods, I had 1,019 for a total of 30,570 Endo. For the uncommon mods, I got 6,935 for a total of 138,700 Endo. And for the common mods, I got 32,739 for a total of 654,780 Endo. This gives me a grand total of 1,290,000 Endo, which comes out to only 10,474 Endo per hour. Now, if you're doing Arena on Sedna, depending on how casual you are, you can get 30k plus an hour. So, I don't know what to say there. For relics, I got a total of 485 relics. This is including Aya and the free refined relic that I receive for every 5 cracks in an endless fissure. It's a refined relic. And the reason why this count is so low is because after 256 rewards in any endless mission, you actually stop receiving the rotational rewards. So after 21 hours, 20 minutes, in my run, I stopped receiving rotational rewards. So it was no longer the AABC rotation, and the only relics that I received were the free one that I received every 5 relic cracks. Now, you can farm a relic every 45 seconds to a minute and a half doing Yuko and Hepic captures. This is including loading screens and everything like that. And you can do Elite Sanctuary Onslaught for rad relics, getting 1 rad relic every 5 minutes and change because of loading screens. Essentially, let's say 6 minutes. And this doesn't count in the void traces that I lost because I stayed well past my cap of like around 1,050-ish, somewhere around there, because I was like MR19 when I did the run. We'll say 1,100, I guess, to be fair, maybe even 1,200, doesn't really matter. We can call it 2,000 even if I wanted to, it still wouldn't make a difference. As I lost over 80,000 void traces to the wind. That is 800 rad relics worth of void traces, which means you wouldn't even have to farm out any of the 229 refined relics that I got, which included the 1 exceptional, 1 flawless, and 227 rads. Because it was a fissure, which means I did crack relics, and I cracked 1,142 relics, and it was roughly every 5 minutes, 18 seconds due to the timer freezing for a total of around 18 seconds because I have to wait for the countdown timer of 5 seconds in order to be able to see the loot. And then once I see the loot, it's another 8 seconds of a countdown timer after that. Then it's another around 2 to 3, or anywhere from like 3 to 5 seconds for me to select a relic because I wasn't even paying attention to what I was cracking. And then after you select the relic, you have another 3 seconds to wait before the timer resumes in any of the endless missions that you're playing. Not so much timer, but gameplay resumes. Now you may also say, well, what about the steel essence and all that you got from that? Well, it comes out to 13.9 weeks of turn-ins if I only bought the Cipher, Kuva, and the relics every week to max out, and then that's not even including the one rotational piece that has a chance of being an Umbra forma as well. So reasonably, any content creator could farm that over the course of time casually. In fact, getting a lot of the stuff up above here that we're talking about, they can be doing that every week. In fact, all of the stuff we're mentioning up above. Same with Riven Silvers, or Slivers Silvers, I don't know anymore. Those I had 6,339, which does come out to 211 weeks of turn-ins, but you'll just get those gradually anyways. I've never felt I had to go out of my way to farm those. Me personally, I do Steel Path all the time, so I never felt I needed to go out of my way to farm that either. But if you're a full-time content creator, it's not going to make any bit of a difference. And as for the relic cracking that I did, the 1,142, you compare this to the 2.5 minutes and under that you get for relic cracks when doing captures, exterminates, rescues, certain sabotages, and even spies. Because on my brand new account, I can do a Fissure in about 3 to 4 minutes. That's solo. And like I said, you can spend your void traces freely, so you don't have to worry about farming out the rad relics. This is why I personally, and I always say this, that the loot per hour is really nothing when you compare it to any other content creator with the amount of time that I did it in, because I did it in 10.5 days. It was 10 days, 11 hours. And that comes out to 9.5 hours a day, which is very reasonable for any content creator. That's a very reasonable amount of time over a, let's say, 11-day period. And especially when you're looking at it in regards to, this is a min-maxed build. So the content creator would be doing nothing but min-maxed strategies with min-maxed builds. So they would be far more efficient than anything that I've labeled up here, because most of the times given are more in the bounds of casual players, which I only felt was necessary to do out of the fact that more of the content creator player base is casual than are min-maxers. So I decided to be fair in my comparison by comparing it to what a casual content creator would be doing as a casual player but streaming full-time hours. Now, as for non-tradable loot, it's far less efficient to stay past level 200 at the very most, as after that, most weapons, abilities, and such will start to have a line of fall off. And even though that fall off might be just slight, when it starts to happen, what that means is every point after that scaling, you are going to be getting progressively worse resources per hour. So the longer you stay in the mission to see higher levels, the worse your efficiency is going to be, no matter what. And this goes even further if you're on Steel Path, because Acolytes do scale, not by much, to be fair. Like 10 levels every spawn. Please fix. Please adjust, I guess. Yeah, please adjust. Please adjust. But eventually their scaling is going to go to a point to where you have to put more focus into killing them and setting up to kill them, which takes you away even further from your original efficiency before the scaling in the regular mobs even happened, because you're not killing those mobs as frequently or as dedicatedly. But that does it from my point of view on, is endurance really worth it or not for the loot? You'll all let me know in the comments down below. I've definitely said my piece on it, and I do hope you all take care. Stay safe, stay humble, be open, and as always, never stop searching. Peace, everybody.